They're staples and celebrations across California, in part due to the influence of our neighbor to the south. But today we're exploring piñatas with a message. And joining me is artist Diana Benavides. Diana, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
So we have an example of one of your piñatas here, and usually piñatas, kids love them because they're packed with candy, but yours aren't. Talk to me about what makes your piñatas unique.
Yeah, I think I've been trying to challenge the idea of like having an object such as a piñata, which is a celebratory object, to be just solely for, the purpose of breaking them and, getting a reward of candy in birthday celebrations. What I try to do instead, I try to provoke conversation. I see the piñata as an object that can be for storytelling, it can be celebratory, but it can also be an object for protest. So I think that mostly, first of all, there's no candy inside, but I think when people just are faced with these objects, something clicks in them, and either a conversation will start, like for example with this ice cream sandwich, would be like, oh, I remember like my mom used to buy these like all the time when I was a kid. And so it can be like a reflection of like what it's like to live here in America.
For many of us, piñatas make us nostalgic about our childhood. As an artist, how does that help you using this medium to express yourself?
I think nostalgia is a really good word because that's something I often bring with my work. The first body of work that I created was called Raised in Chula Juana. And all the objects that were presented in that series were items that were somehow connected to my childhood, living here in Chula Vista and Tijuana. So definitely nostalgia is a feeling that a lot of us would find or, associate with the objects that I create.
And some of your series actually are very powerful and take on serious subject matters. I saw on your website there was a series, She Was Asking for It. Can you talk to me? It was featuring things, among other things, like tampons and pepper spray. What message were you sending with the series like that?
Yeah, I think these are objects that, first of all, by making them into piñatas, I enlarged their scale. Usually these objects would be very small. Their design is to make them almost invisible, right? Like we're trying to hide our periods by making tiny little tampons, as discreet as they can. And by enlarging these objects, I feel like I'm making a statement, right? Like, why do we have to be embarrassed about menstruation? Why does, birth control have to be something that we have to hide, or feel embarrassed about using? The can of maize is actually a representation of something that I encountered. I was, inappropriately touched in the street by a man, and after that incident, I was carrying with me that same like version of little pepper spray with me. It was hard for me to leave home without it.
How does that make you feel to help carry on this tradition?
Well, it's beautiful for me to be able to embrace my Mexican heritage through arts and crafts and folklore. I think that, as someone who's always dealing with identity issues of, do I belong in the United States? Do I belong in Mexico? For me, being able to make piñatas that are reflection of my life in both sides of each country, I think that it helps me a lot to kind of bring everything together and turn this hybrid identity into an object that's related to my culture in Mexico, but also into my culture here in America.
And if somebody wanted to see your art or maybe purchase your art, tell people where they can learn more.
Yeah, they can visit my website is dianabenavides.com.
Diana, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.